He said, pray as you see me pray. Utter these words that you hear me say. Based on the Sunnah, worship Him, just follow Him.
Assalamu alaikum. New class coming to you every Monday and Wednesday, taught by Ustad Layla Nashiba, the fiqh of prayer. Every Monday and Wednesday, 9:30 p.m. Eastern. Inshallah, we'll see you there. Streaming on all major platforms. Channel Sunnahfollowers.
The Muqasid Tafsir.
Where should I begin when I'm starting at the end? Pursuing the higher aim, learning the meaning of every page. Where should I begin when I'm starting at the end?
Assalamu alaikum. Sunnahfollowers presents a new class, the Muqasid of Tafsir, being taught and brought to you by Ustada Layla Nashiba. Please stay tuned, streaming on all major platforms, right here on Channel Sunnahfollowers.
You will make it through. The fitrah is awake in you. With Quran and Sunnah by your side, here's a place where it will thrive. You will make it through. You will know your Lord. We learn about His names and His attributes. Know your Lord, what He approves and disapproves. Know your Lord, believe in all things that He has brought forth. Know His oneness, Lord.
Know Your Lord, part of the Right Belief series by Sheikh Kareem Abu Zaid, right here on Sunnahfollowers. Being taught by Ustada Layla Nashiba as she lays down the foundations to get you together. Learn about your Lord. Know your Lord. Streaming on all major platforms. Channel Sunnahfollowers. Assalamu alaikum. Get to know your Lord. First part of the Right Belief series by Sheikh Kareem Abu Zaid. This dynamic literary work of art's main goal is to revive an understanding the names and attributes of Allah. And understanding the name and attributes of Allah will elevate our faith, strengthen us, and keep us steadfast. This wonderful book is now available in an audiobook format and can be found free of charge on YouTube, channel Kareem Abu Zaid. Get to know your Lord. You have nothing to lose.
Inna alhamdulillah, wassalat, wassalam ala wa rasulullah. I'd like to welcome everybody here to our Aqidah class. And this is the class whereas we're studying what it means to get to know your Lord, what it means to get to know your Lord and how to get to know your Lord. That's Tawheed. When you hear the Arabic term Tawheed, it's referring to Allah's divinity, belief in Allah and His divinity, His oneness, and all of that. And as we talked about in this class, because we're dealing with people from different backgrounds, we're dealing with people who come from, we're dealing with other people of the book for one thing. And who are the people of the book? Let's see if anybody can answer that question. And I don't want it to be Yasmin, because she has to keep her eye on that Zoom room. Because when those people come in and mess up my screen, I can't get it back. So who can tell me what is who are the people of the book? When we hear this term, because this is a question that sister which one of you asked that? And Elizabeth, you don't know that answer, Elizabeth? Okay, Elizabeth wants to know, when we read about the people of the book, who are the people of the book? Elizabeth, you don't know that answer. Okay, who are the people of the book? Yeah, let me see your answers on YouTube, Twitch, and Facebook too. And by the way, I am streaming simultaneously on YouTube, on Facebook, on Twitch, on LinkedIn. On LinkedIn, they changed the procedure. It's not going to show on my banner anymore. You're going to have to go to my profile, which is Layla Nashiba, and then scroll down to videos and media, and you will see this. You click on this live stream. Okay, for LinkedIn. I have a Reddit group of new shahadas. I want to welcome all of you here. Okay, but I'm kind of surprised that Elizabeth, you don't know who the people of the book are. Who are the people of the book? Let's see if anyone can answer that question. I'll give you guys a chance to type your answers on the screen. And is there anyone in my Zoom room besides my moderators? I don't want any moderator to answer, because they have to be on patrol. Okay, I'm looking at some of y'all's answers here. Sakina said people of the book are Jewish and Christians. Isra said Jewish and Christians. That's not really the correct answer. That's not, Brother Emmad said Jews and Christians. That's not really the correct answer either. None of this is not really the correct answer. When we refer to people of the book, who are the people of the book?
Us and the Christians. Us. We're included.
Okay, that's not correct. Everybody is saying Muslim, Jews, and Christians. That's not really the correct answer.
Well, then just the Christians.
No, that's not.
They're closest to us.
No, that's not the correct answer. Can anybody else try? I'm going to give you guys a chance again. The Arabs don't answer. The Arabs don't answer. My Arabs on LinkedIn. I know you guys know who the people of the book are. Okay, let me give you guys the correct answer, and I want you guys to write it down, because this is the thing. We have to be able to answer basic questions about Allah correctly. Okay, and this is the problem today. Most Muslims can't. We give answers, but are they really correct? No. Okay, write it down, Elizabeth, and everyone else. Who are the people of the book? The people of the book are people whom Allah has sent a book of revelations to. That's the correct answer. So when Allah refers to people of the book, he's speaking about people who he sent a book of revelations to. Let me tell you why your answer is wrong. It's the Quran. It's the Bible. It's the Torah, the only book of revelations that Allah sent. What do y'all think? We talked about this before in this class. This is basic Tawheed. Are those the only books that Allah sent? Are Jesus, Muhammad, and Moses the only prophets he sent? No. Do y'all understand that? Allah sent other books too. It's just that these are the ones that he's told us of, just like Allah has sent other prophets too. He sent over 24,000 prophets. Do you think those 24,000 prophets didn't have a book? And of those 24,000 prophets, they say 900 and something of them were messengers. Over 900 were messengers. Okay, so there were other books too. So I want you guys to write that down. Allah speaks about the Sabians. What's their book? Y'all can't answer that, can you? Allah mentions another people in the Quran called the Sabians. Okay? So the people of the book, they are people whom Allah has sent a book of revelations to. That's the answer that's correct. Okay, because there Allah sent other books, like he says, some that you know of, some that you don't. Just like with the prophets, some that you have heard of, some that you haven't. Okay. So, exactly. The Psalms. The Psalms was a book too. Exactly, brother Gerald. The Psalms was a book too. And who did Allah send the Psalms to? The Psalms was sent to David, alayhi salam. Was David a Christian? No. Was David Jewish? No. So don't say the people of the book are Jews, Christians, and Muslims. You say the correct answer. Who are the people of the book? They are a people who Allah sent a book of revelations to. That's it. Okay? Today, most people claim to be Christian or Jewish or Muslim. Jewish people, Christian people, and Muslim people are all people of the book. But we do have some people that call themselves Sabians. Believe it or not, guys, we still have some people that call themselves Sabians today, too. Believe it or not, they're in Africa. The homeland, motherland. Motherland got some Sabians. So, write that down. You got it, Elizabeth? Good job. Right, Elizabeth. So when Allah is referring to the people of the book, good job. That's it. He's referring to people whom he sent a book of revelation to. Good job. And we're going to talk more about this. When in this book here, we do cover, after we get through speaking about Tawheed, we're going to cover what it means to believe in Allah's books. And we're going to get to that part again. I'm going to teach about these other books again. And we're going to also get to the prophets again in this book. That's why I'm glad that I restart. Like I said, I'm going to restart this over and over because we forget, because I taught you guys this before, y'all forgot. All right, but it's in here. We'll get to the Allah's books later. Okay, so to call the people back to belief in Allah, and that's what Tawheed refers to. Tawheed refers to believing in the divinity of Allah. We're dealing with people from different parts of life. We got the Christians, we got the Jews, we got the Muslims. These are people of the book who claim to believe in a book of revelations. But do they really believe in a book of revelations? For example, the Christians, they claim that they believe in Allah, but they also put Jesus as Allah. Okay? Look at the Jews. The Jews claim to believe in Allah, but they pick and choose what prophets to believe in. Even though Allah commanded us to believe in all his prophets and all his angels. And we're going to talk about that later on in this book too, when we get to the chapter about prophets and angels. You will see that the Jews, even though they're supposed to believe in all the prophets, they don't. They pick and choose which ones. They don't believe in all the angels. They hate Jibril. We're going to talk about that. The Jews, they love Michael. but they hate Jibril. So we got to look at the people we're dealing with. Also, we have atheists. The atheists are people that don't believe in no creator. Okay. So we have to call the people back to the belief in Allah. And this is why the early scholars have divided Tawheed into different categories. Different categories based on the audience you have, based on the people you have. Now, for me personally, my dawah, I don't call to non-Muslims. I call to Muslims. My dawah is designed to call to reach out to those Muslims who are weak in faith and call them back to the correct belief system. So I don't use these categories. Since my audience is not Christians, Jews, or any of that, it's Muslims who are weak in faith, I don't use any of these categories. I don't do that. I don't go by any of them. I just go straight by the way the Prophet did with the companions, because the Arabs believed in Allah. Okay, they just had a problem with worshiping him alone, just like the Muslims today. Many of you believe in Allah, but you worship other things besides Allah: drugs, alcohol, sex, your husbands, your parents, and all of that. But for those people who are reaching out to people who are not Muslim, they use the different categories of Tawheed. And that's what we're going to speak about today. Today, we're going to speak about that first category, which is Ruboobiyah. Tawheed Ar Ruboobiyah. But before I get down into it, let me share my PowerPoint. I'm going to give you 2 questions from yesterday. Because yesterday we talked about how Allah has put within us, it's within us to want to reach out and find our way back to him. That fitra within us is always searching, trying to find its way back to Allah. And Allah has given us natural instinct, intuition. And we've also talked about supplication, and other things yesterday. Let me put that up on the screen and give you guys a quiz. Just 2 questions. Today we're going to be talking about Tawheed Ar Ruboobiyah. But 2 questions. One from yesterday. Here's the first one. Who can tell us what is the correlation between hardship and Tawheed? Remember, Tawheed refers to belief in the divinity, the oneness of Allah. So what relationship does trials or hardships or tests have in regards to belief in Allah? Since we talked about it's the natural inclination, as humans, we are naturally inclined to believe in Allah. So who can explain the relationship that trials or hardships or bad things have with you and your belief? In other words, what happens when something bad happens to a person? What's the first thing they do?
If you have the right books.
Wait a minute, hold on. We couldn't hear you. Say it again.
Hardships.
Say it again, baby. It was breaking up. Say it again. Go ahead. Fix his mic. We couldn't hear him.
If you have the right belief system, will help you.
Woo. Are you guys where the hurricane was? Because we sure couldn't understand that. There's a lot of static. Who is that talking, God? A1?
Precious kid.
What's wrong? They got an earthquake out there?
It was Lucius.
Okay, could you understand what he was saying?
No, it was breaking.
Yeah, it's breaking too bad. Anybody else? What's the correlationship between trials and belief in Allah? What happens? Like, for example, an earthquake. If an earthquake hits California, what's the first thing that a person will do? People that don't believe in Allah, what's the first thing they'll do when something bad happens? Anyone else?
Call upon him.
What they say?
Try to call upon him.
Exactly. That's what they'll do. They'll call upon Allah. Exactly. Good job, baby. They'll call upon Allah. Earthquake is coming. What do? They run to the churches. They start praying. Maybe they haven't prayed in 15 years. Maybe they were strung out on drugs and alcohol, but they'll pull themselves together and try to pray. They'll try to call upon Allah. Okay, so that's the relationship between hardships and tests. People will supplicate. Supplicate means to call upon Allah. And what about this? Does Allah answer some of the supplications of non-believers, or does he only answer the supplication of a believer? What do y'all think about that question?
He answers the supplications of the non-believers. This is their paradise. So yes.
Yes, exactly. If Allah wants to. If he wants to, he'll answer their supplications. If he don't want to, he won't. But yes, this is another misconception. There are some deviant groups who call themselves Muslims. They will tell you that Allah does not answer the supplication of anyone unless they're a believer. That's not true. We went over the verses in the Quran yesterday where Allah says he may or he may not. He may or may not respond to their supplication. Good job. So whenever we're tested with a hardship in life, that's part of the human nature. Even if you don't believe in Allah, you're going to fall down and call upon him. It's inherent within us. And what about this? What's the correlation between guidance and Tawheed? Say, for example, you're lost in life. You feel like I feel right now. I'm lost. I'm going to be honest with you guys. I got so much drama going on with this website. We need donations to pay for this website. And it's freaking me out because I don't like asking people, for help. That's a problem that I have. I'm used to being independent and self-sufficient. And I've always taken care of this website myself since '86 because I used to work. But now that I'm retired, this is a nonprofit organization and I can't pay the website expenses myself anymore. So it's stressing me out, trying to come up with $2,000 every month. Not just that, but I'm dealing with the classes, cancellations like today. Dr. McBride, because of the hurricane, he doesn't have an internet connection. So I had to fill in for him today. This normally would have been his class. And then I got Jamali filling in. Then I got Sheikh Saud. So this is stressful. And then in my personal life, I got drama going on with my grandkids. I got drama going on with my daughter. I got drama with my brothers, with my mother. It's just, and then my own personal stuff. I got my health to worry about. I got my sanity to try to maintain. I got my bills to pay. So whenever we're all messed up like that, we feel like there's no way out. Because all of us are going to find ourselves in situations like I'm in right now, where we need help and we feel like we're all alone. I have no one. There's no one to help me. What relationship does guidance have with Tawheed? What happens when a person gets overwhelmed? When life overwhelms us like I am right now? I have been overwhelmed for the past month. What do we do? What is it about the human being when we find that we have no way out? We can't see our way out of the forest. What do we do? What do we do?
We ask Allah to give us patience, and we ask Allah to help us out of our situation, to give us calmness, to give us peace, serenity, and to send us help.
So so we're asking Allah for guidance. Exactly. That's what guidance is. Guidance. So what's the relationship between guidance and Tawheed? Whenever we feel like life is kicking our behind, whenever we feel overwhelmed, we always, the believer, will turn to Allah seeking guidance, and the non-believers do too. Look how many non-believers are at the end of their rope. They're even contemplating suicide. But before they take that pill, before they pull that trigger, some of them will turn and raise their hands and say, "Oh God, help me." That's that natural instinct within us. That's that fitra. That's your fitra speaking out. Many of you, I got about 30 new shahadas in here from Reddit. And again, I welcome you. A lot of you were in situations like that, where you felt like you were at the end of your rope, that there was no way out. And then you raised your hands and said, "Oh God, show me the way." And then you got up, you turned on your TV, and you came upon my video. I get a lot of emails like this, by the way. A lot of people say they turn on the television on YouTube and they'll see me. This loud woman comes on screen. See, you may hate my voice, but you may hate something that Allah loves. A lot of these new shahadas tell me they turned and heard this loud voice. And they said, "Who is this loud person?" And then they listened to what I was saying. And they say, "Oh my God, she's speaking to me. She's telling me what I need to hear. Let me listen." Y'all see, that's why my voice is loud. Allah loves my loud voice. You may not like it, but that's your problem. My voice helps a lot of people. It brings them to attention when they are at their wits' end, when they look at my recordings, listen to my lectures. God's trying to tell you something. That's what they say. Okay, so again, guidance. That's part of the human nature. That's how Allah made us, created us. When we become overwhelmed, when we feel like there's just no hope, we turn to Him. "Oh Allah, show me the way." And He does. He shows us the way. So again, Allah created us to worship Him. And Allah knows His creation better than the creation knows itself. He knows that there's going to be more of us in hell. He knows that most of us will not believe in Him. He already knows who amongst us will be in hell. But we can't blame it on Him. On the day of judgment, when we stand before Him, you can't say, "God, you did this to me." No, like the Christians. The Christians will say, "The devil made me do it. God made me do it." The hypocrites say, "Allah, you did this." No. Allah is going to say, "I didn't make you do it. I gave you intellect. I gave you natural intuition to believe in me. I also gave you the ability to call upon me, to seek me out in hardship. But you chose to not do any of that. You chose to not use your intelligence. You chose to give in to your desires. So don't blame me. I just knew which of you would fall back upon the natural inherent things I've given you, and I knew which ones of you would not. So don't blame me." Y'all get it? So we can't blame Allah. Allah knows His creation, but He gave us the ability to overcome the odds and end up in paradise. We all, as human beings, no matter what your life is, we all have it within us to overcome the odds of the dunya. But many of us choose to not use those four things Allah gave us: intuition, intelligence, supplication, and guidance. Those are the four things. Everybody understand that? So, having discussed that, now we're going to get into, how do we call to Allah? How do we get the people to fall back upon those 4 things? Okay, I'm gonna make my screen. I know a lot of you. I want you guys to take PowerPoints for the kids. I mean, not PowerPoints. I take screenshots for the kids. Let me make my picture smaller. Yeah. A lot of the kids say, Sister Layla, I got your picture on the PowerPoint. We printed out, but I want me to be small. There's Layla. Do my little 2 thing. Okay. So Allah, not only has He given us those 4 inherent abilities to seek Him out, to find our way back to Him, but He has also sent down miracles, revelations, and prophets and messengers to give us clear proof that He exists and what we should do once we realize that He does exist. See how merciful Allah is? He created us to worship Him. He gave us the 4 inherent things that will always cause us to turn to Him. And then He sent miracles, and He still sends miracles every day. The simple fact that you guys survived that Hurricane Milton, that's a miracle. I like the video that Dr. Jamali put out. It's a miracle that we are here. Okay, so, and He sent messengers, and He tells us what to do. And the prophets and messengers were sent with many proofs throughout the ages. Okay? For example, Prophet Moses, alayhi salam, he showed many wonders to Pharaoh and the children of Israel. Allah sent plagues, locusts, water that turned to blood. Moses had a stick. His stick became a snake. The voice in the burning bush. All of these were miracles that Allah sent to prove His existence to the people. And even amongst the Christians, look at Jesus, alayhi salam. Jesus came with miracles too. Every prophet, by the way, every prophet came with miracles. Okay? Jesus was able to speak from the cradle when He was an infant. He made birds from clay. He cured the people with leprosy. He gave sight to the blind and raised a dead man back to life, all through Allah. Allah used Himself as and sent His miracles through Jesus to show us that Allah does indeed exist. And even our Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam had his miracles too. And one of His greatest miracles is this book that we still use today, the Quran, which is the speech of Allah, not the creation of Allah, the speech of Allah. And the Quran was for all times. It wasn't just for the 6th century. The lessons learned, the guidance of the Quran applies to all mankind and jinn until the end of time. Okay? So that's the greatest miracle of the Prophet Muhammad, the Quran. And the Quran has so many lessons. The Quran applies to everything here in life. And if we truly ponder the words of Allah in the Quran, we'll find the same guidance and miracles too that the people that came before us had too, when from the words of Allah. So Allah, He didn't put us on this earth and tell us to worship Him and make it hard. Okay, He gave us the Quran. He gave us those 4 inherent abilities. And so that's why when we call people back to belief in Allah, we use categories of Tawheed. Okay? The first category is Tawheed Ar Ruboobiyah. And this is a category that points to the actions of Allah to cause you to believe in Him. And then we have Tawheed Al Asma wa Sifat, which focuses on the names and attributes of Allah to help us to believe in Him. And then we have Tawheed Al Uluhiyah, which describes our actions of Tawheed, responses as responses to his lordship. And again, today, what I'm going to focus in on is Tawheed Ar Ruboobiyah. But as a daya, or as a person who calls yourself a person of dawah, we have to understand the different categories of Tawheed and know who to apply them with. You have to know your audience. Know your audience, know where the people are in their belief of Allah, and then address it that way. Okay? So, let's take a look at Tawheed Ar Ruboobiyah. This is how we deal with it. First of all, the Christians and Jews, and most of the people living here in America and the West, are familiar with the use of the word Lord. Their understanding of this term refers to something other than complete belief in him, though. Okay, they say, yes, I believe in God, but they get it twisted because they'll say, I believe that God has a partner, or they'll even refer to Jesus, alayhi salam, as being their Lord. Okay, so when giving dawah to them, we have to give dawah to them a different way than you would a Buddhist or a Hindu. And a lot of people ask the question, what is it that leads a person like a Christian to associate partners with Allah? It's because they didn't learn about that. That's why it's important for us to know that association is not just praying to an idol. Associating partners with Allah entails loving others the way you should only love Allah, or more than him. It also entails having allegiance to someone or something other than Allah. And that's what I focus on with the Muslims. We find that a lot of the Muslims have allegiances to things other than Allah, other than the religion of Islam, other than the Prophet Muhammad. Okay, so, Tawheed Ar Ruboobiyah, this is the first category, because this is calling people to belief in the oneness of Allah. And we have to focus in on the different types of shirk, or the different types of polytheism, which turns a person against belief in his oneness. Does everybody understand that? So a lot of people will ask, well, how do you call a Christian? Or how do you call a Jew? Or how do you call the people of the book? The people who had a book of Revelation sent to them. How do you call them to Allah? Well, through the use of the Quran and the authentic hadiths. And this is from our Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, calling the people of the book away from evil is calling them to our Lord through the use of the Quran and my example. Okay, so Allah, Lord, Rabb. This is the Arabic term, Rabb. It has many linguistic meanings. But when you hear the Arabic term Rabb, our Rabb, it refers to the creator, Allah. He's the creator. Also, the owner, our Rabb, our Lord. He is the owner of everything. Rabb, our Lord. He is also the provider. He's the one who nourishes. He's the one who sustains the creation. Nothing will survive. Nothing will be unless Allah wills it to be. Nothing will end unless Allah wills it to end. This is something that even Muslims struggle with. The war that's going on against Islam, you think it's going to end because you want it to? Do you think it's going to end because you put some kafir in the White House? Nothing ends or begins unless Allah wills it. Also, Allah is the absolute ruler who alone has the right to legislate. What does that mean? Nobody has the authority to make anything lawful or unlawful but Allah. So all of this deals with the term Rabb, which means your Lord, my Lord. My Lord is the creator. My Lord is the owner of everything. He's the provider. He's the sustainer. He's the absolute ruler. And when we assert Tawheed Ar Ruboobiyah, the only way that we can call people to these four categories of lordship is by having the people single Allah out as the one, the only, the sole owner, the sole provider, the sole creator. Does everybody understand that? So this is Tawheed Ar Ruboobiyah. You're calling the people to the oneness of Allah, not just his divinity, but also his absoluteness. He has no partners. He has no associates. He has no sons, no daughters. He's the one in control of life, death, war, poverty, the rain, the sun, the moon. Allah is in control. That's Tawheed Ar Ruboobiyah. And I'm going to stop right here for today. Tomorrow, what I'm going to do is take you guys through those four categories of lordship. And like I said, even though I don't give dawah to kafirs, because that's not my thing, I don't care. Allah guides people. Allah makes Muslims. But my dawah is to the Muslims, and believe it or not, I have to use Tawheed Ar Ruboobiyah with you guys all the time. I just don't, refer to it as that. But I'm always calling you guys to recognize that ain't nothing going to happen unless Allah wills it. That he's in charge. He's the absolute ruler. No one has the authority to make anything haram but Allah. He's the absolute legislator. Be careful using the word haram. How dare you say it's haram to wear makeup? Where did Allah say that? Allah is the only legislator. You can't make something unlawful that Allah didn't make lawful. How dare you refer to something being bad that Allah brings good from? Don't ever say, I hate the rain. I hate the snow, because the snow, the rain comes from Allah. And perhaps you hate something that Allah brings a lot of good from. So as you guys can see, I use Tawheed Ar Ruboobiyah. I just don't divide it up and use that name and that category. But I'm even with the Muslims. We Muslims are people of a book too. Our book is the Quran. But look how many of us have to be reminded of Allah's lordship, Allah's divinity, that lordship, which is Tawheed Ar Ruboobiyah, refers to Allah's lordship. All right. I'm going to stop right here. Subhanaka Allahumma wa bihamdika ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta astaghfiruka wa atubu ilaik. Are there any questions? And by the way, as you guys can see, we had a change in the schedule today. Because of the hurricane, Dr. McBride was not able to do his class, so I had to do mine. We also have a special lecture in 15 minutes from Dr. Dramali. He's going to break down and answer the question about what happened to cause Allah to send down the verses of the Quran regarding Tayammum. So we're going to talk about Tayammum and also how to treat your wife. Remember the question I had a couple of Q&As ago? A brother asked me, could he beat his wife because she was loud And I told him we don't beat up on our wives. Well, Dr. Jamali is going to address that today with the Quran. And we're going to have the Quran here and break it down. So that's at 7:30. And then at 8:30 Eastern Standard Time, we have Sheikh Saud. Sheikh Saud will be coming in, teaching you how to implement the Quran into your life. And then we have my class at 9:30, the Hasidic Tafsir. So we have a lot of lectures back to back tonight. So I'm going to log out for right now, but I'll be back in 15 minutes with Dr. Jamali. Are there any questions or comments before I leave out about what we talked about here today? This is a different lecture. Dr. Jamali's lecture is going to be about how to treat your wife, because the brothers want to know, can they beat up on their wives because their wife didn't cook chicken? I told her to cook chicken for dinner. She made turkey. Can I hit her? And he's going to also give the talk about what happened to cause Allah to send down the verses regarding Tayammum. Okay, y'all know Jamali's class is on Saturdays, but he's filling in for Dr. McBride today. That's why I say the whole schedule has been tipped over today. That's why I'm stressed out. That's why I tell people I'm dealing with a lot. And please support this website, guys. We need donations. This is the 10th of the month, and we got other website expenses coming out. We don't have any money in our account. And please, guys, if those bills start bouncing, I won't be able to pay the money to get us out, because I got my own bills I'm paying for, my personal stuff. So please, guys, we are a nonprofit organization. Somebody asked the question, can your zakat go to this website? Yes. Unlike the mosques, we don't get no grants from the government. We are an online Islamic school. That's our tax exempt number there. But we don't get no funding from the government. All of our funding comes from you and me. So please, guys, yes, you can give your zakat. In fact, this is the type of organization that you do give zakat to, because it falls in the category of fi sabilillah. And we don't get no help from the government here, because I am not a church. And we are not trying to be a church, because once you get government help, you got to abide by the laws of the government. Ain't nobody got time for that dumb stuff. This ain't no LGBTQ. Oh, yeah. Y'all didn't know that. You get government help, you got to have an LGBTQ speaker up here. Did y'all know that? Oh, yeah. They've included LGBTQ and everything. So even for the churches that get support, you and your speakers, you got to include an LGBTQ. Ain't nobody got time for that. So yes, we need your donations, guys. We get no government support for this website. Please support us. Oh, yeah. All right, guys, I'm going to log out. I'll be back in 10 minutes with Dr. Jamali. Okay? Subhana kala homa wa bihamdika ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk. Yeah, girl, you got to have the LGBTQ on your stuff now. America's really pushing that. Oh, yeah.